And hello and welcome to my update video. My name is Ray Lavery. I am now 18 months on testosterone and I have been ignoring YouTube for the last 6 months. Other things simply got in the way, but I got prompted by somebody to go, yo, what's happening with you? So here I am, giving you a little bit of an update. It will be the last update that I do like this. We're going to be moving to other things after that, but I will let you know more about that. So, what has happened? It is now almost, no, well, it is. It's 9 months since I've had top surgery. When I last did my last update, I was about 3 months post-op. That was not enough time to be recovered. I had a lot of very painful sensation actually inside of my nipples. I don't have any scarring, by the way. I got peri, so there's no scarring whatsoever. So I can stand in front, stand with my top off, and nobody knows, which is wonderful, and I'm very grateful for that. And I realize not many people are in that position. Nearly every surgeon that I spoke to said that I wasn't going to be eligible for peri. I disagreed, and I went through over 80 doctors to get to Dr. Chandler, and she did a phenomenal job. I can't show you because, again, we are doing a documentary and I need to save that for there, but I think say that much. Now, top surgery requires a lot more time than the doctors will tell you. I think the general consensus, if you're over 6 weeks, you can go back to normal work. That might be the case if you're a teenager, but if you're my age, no way. And having spoken to quite a number of my boys, they're saying 10 months, really, to start going back to the gym, not just because of the recovery of the muscle and the skin and all that kind of stuff, but basically because of scarring. So, any sort of lifting of your arms above your shoulders, your elbows above your shoulders, causes stretching, and you don't want that. 10 months. Now, for me, at about sort of 7-8 months was when I felt that I was recovered enough, not from a scarring perspective, because I don't have that, but just from a recovery perspective. My nipples were extremely painful to touch. That has now gone back to a normal level. I was told that I wouldn't have, I would have sensation, hot and cold, but not much else. It turns out I have every sensation going, so good up with that one as well. But I actually needed to calm down because it was actually too much. So the top surgery has been absolutely amazing. It's been a game changer. I've had an amazing summer because of that. I've been walking around with my top off absolutely everywhere. Nobody has known. And that is amazing for me. I feel great about that. I feel for the first time this summer that I've actually been myself, that I am now myself on the outside, how I've always felt on the inside, and that is an amazing feeling. So if you're not there yet, you will get there. Don't worry. So I clearly pass, and I was starting to pass quite successfully in April. Now I pass 100% of the time, and a lot of that has to do with the beard, but also the face shape has actually changed. Now, I was looking at my video and actually laughing at myself at my 1 year video, because I only had sort of little bits here, but now I've got quite a lot of beard. Quite a lot. You can see it there. I've got to trim this. I keep it at basically a blade 3. And I got to trim it about once a week, and it's really starting to fill out. And even here, there's loads of hairs of it. You can't see on the video, but there's loads of hairs here. There's loads more here, and there's loads more here. And in fact, it's starting to come out sort of here as well. So there's loads more that are coming that in the next sort of hair growth phase, they'll become darker, and so they will fill in a lot more. But I very clearly now have a beard, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It feels weird. The hair has gone quite thick now, so there's still loads of stuff to fill in, sort of underneath there, everywhere basically. But the thickness of the hair has completely changed, and I play with it all the time. It's a lot of fun. People are like, "Stop playing with your beard," but I love it. So I am passing all the time. My face of my has changed shape quite a lot. Particularly over the last couple of months, it's definitely got a lot squarer. I can see a big difference. When people see me and they haven't seen me for a while, they're like, whoa, you've definitely changed. And I have. So much so that Rob, my filmmaker, when I came across them a couple of weeks ago, he's like, oh my God, we have to film that. And we did. We're still filming the documentary, but I'll tell you more about that in a bit. So the only time now that I don't pass, which is a weird one, is I do pass, but it's in people's brains. So what's happening is that I'm going to people's houses, and there's people there that I've never met before. And what's happening is my friends are having conversations with them going, oh, well, this trans person is coming. And because of that, they get it in their brain that actually I'm female. So even when they meet me and they've never met me before and I'm clearly a male and they see it, they still misgender me, which is weird. But it doesn't happen very often. But I guess I have to expect that that's going to happen. But when I meet everybody else out there, nobody knows. I just pass. And also my voice has changed quite a lot too. It's definitely got a lot deeper. It's still breaking, and it's definitely got a lot deeper, even than when it was in April. And now I pass on the phone 100% of the time too. So I finally got to that stage, but it's at the 18-month stage already, I suppose the 17-month stage, that really happened sort of 100% of the time. So I still had a little bit of pain to go through with that. But yeah, whatever. Now I don't even think about it anymore. And actually to the point where I pass so well that there's no possibility of going into the ladies' bathroom. Not that I would, but there'd be no point. You'd get shouted at by a lot of women. I would get shouted at, so I don't want to do that. So I exclusively use the men's bathroom because, frankly, that is now the only option, which is fine. The biggest challenge, I guess, I've had over the summer has been not passing, but my documentation does not match. Now, this is a process that I started changing 18 months ago due to COVID and due to the absolutely archaic Irish system. It's taken me a very, very long time to get to where I am now. Where I am now is I now have my driver's license with the new photograph and the new name. Excellent. My gender certificate came through and I need to carry that with me. I'll explain why in a second. The second one is my passport. Now, passports, there's a huge delay in Ireland at the moment for passports. And so my application did go in a couple of weeks ago, but I needed to wait because you have to surrender your passport. And I needed a time when I wasn't traveling for a period of time because I need the passport. However, that passport doesn't work anymore. And people have attempted to stop me getting on planes because I no longer look like my photograph. And also the name of my passport is different. And it is extremely annoying to use my old name, and so I have to carry my gender certificate with me to prove to people that I am who I am. Now, I went to Morocco during the summer, and that turned out to be very interesting. They looked at my name and they go, well, that's a female name. They were laughing at me. They were basically laughing at me, but it was a problem. Because it was dodgy whether I was actually going to get into the country. It was also dodgy whether I was actually going to be able to get on a flight. And I have to explain myself all the time. And I hate that. And the airlines are not being brilliant about that. In other words, they're making massive announcements in front of everybody else. And it's frankly very embarrassing. So I now have that driver's license. That allows me to change all my bank cards over. Most of that has been done. Some of them require the passport, so I have to wait for that to come back. I now have a period where I'm not traveling, and so I sent off for my passport, and it's hopefully I'll get it in the next couple of months. So that being the case, once I have that, then we're in. Okay, nothing is a problem anymore. I can move freely, and I don't have to panic about getting stopped to get on flights. I didn't anticipate that happening, but it did, and it's happened on every flight, and that's a pain. But anyway, there we go. So that is that. I guess for sort of changes now. I've been doing a lot of things in the background, obviously being transgender and coming out and meeting other people and stuff like that. It's kind of put the bit between my teeth. And I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I do have a meetup group. That meetup group is now close on 500 members. We're starting to expand it out. Again, I haven't done any advertising for it, so people are just finding this organically. We now run 5 events a week, not a week, I beg your pardon, 5 events a month. And that's proving to be very, very popular. We're having 30-40 people turn up for meetups, and it's amazing, and I can really start to see the changes in people because I've now known quite a few of them for the best part of 9 months, in fact some of them for as long as a year, and to see their changes as well has been absolutely phenomenal. To see how confident they are in themselves is absolutely amazing. To be able to support and to help people like that is actually an amazing feeling, and I now can have a team of people who are helping me do that. Thank you, Jess, in particular, for your help. And that has shown me an awful lot of stuff. Now, I know that I mentioned probably a long time ago that I also wrote a book. I was writing a book back then, but now that book has actually been written. It is now at the proofreading stage. It is extremely long. It turns out to be an enormous series of myth busting. It's about 450 pages, plus the stories that we're going to add in, and all the 7 pages of references. And hopefully that will really help a lot of people out there, either understanding transgender or coming to terms of being transgender, and it gives you a pathway forward to be able to come out without, it being a complete train wreck. So that once there's 2 proofreaders who need to do their bit, and then once I've done that, we can do the final edit and then the final proofread, and then it will be released. So that I am actually looking forward to, and I frankly just want to get it off my plate because I have so many other things that I want to do that are going to make, I hope, a difference to the lives of transgender people. Now, I also have been shooting a documentary. Now, that documentary was supposed to be just about top surgery, and it was for a long time, but we are actually still shooting, and it's now a year, close on a year actually. In November it'll be a year since we started shooting that. Now, what it has actually done is it's actually also, apart from documenting my top surgery, it has also documented my transition, how I look, how I think, etc., and the people around me too. So we now have some interest from one of the large UK TV channels. It is interest. We do not have a deal, but if we can just continue those conversations and film a few bits that they wanted us to, which we can, which is no big deal, then it looks like we will likely get that on to UK TV, but the deal will have to extend to Northern America, because it's no good to the doctor, to the good, wonderful Dr. Chandler, unless it actually gets on US TV. So we're going to do our best to do that, and see what happens with that. Sure, I don't know, but we'll give it a lash. Nothing, like I said, all we have right now is a bunch of film, largely unedited, but enough to get a large TV channel interested. So we'll see if they proceed with that. So the next steps for me is, I kind of feel like any additional changes that make to me, I think physically it's not going to change that much, but the beard will fill in a bit more. I'm going to do some more weight, so I'll fill out a little bit more, but not much else is going to happen from a sort of testosterone point of view. I could be wrong. I could be doing one of these videos in a few months, but I doubt it. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to move on to other things. One of the things I want to do is I want to take what I've got and run with it. So I'm in the process of developing a platform which will be called Trans Matters. It's transmatters.com, so trans-matters.com. Don't bother going there now. There's nothing there unless you were looking at this well into 2023. There's nothing there right now, so I'm just testing a back-end system, and that will be a real support place, not just for trans people, but for supporters of trans people. It will be extension of the book, of the video. We've got a ton of things planned. I have a team of people who I'm now roping in to help me build that, and what I want is it to connect everybody in the trans world, all the organizations across the world, all the doctors, have real conversations, because what the guys are doing in WPATH is simply not enough. I'm very annoyed with them, but I think we can take this to the next level, and take a lot more control as to how we're actually treated and who says how we're treated, because that should be our control, nobody else's. So I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff on that. We're going to a lot of conferences. We've been to a lot of conferences, and I'm going to do something about that. So we'll start with that. We'll start with the book, the documentary, and now this platform. So that's where it is that things are going. What you will find that I'm going to start doing now is educational series. So I'm going to start interviewing a lot of people. I've already done a few of these interviews, but I have a load more lined up, which will be much more informative and much more helpful, I think, and hopefully that will be helpful to you guys out there in the future. That is certainly my plan. And there seems to be a lot of interest from the people I've talked to so far, and everybody seems up for it. So grand, let's do it, and let's put some stuff out there and really, really help people. These timelines are amazing, but transitioning is a lived experience. However, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of myths out there from trans people, non-trans people, and all of that needs to end. So that's what we're going to do, so that for those who are coming after us, I guess, or who are just thinking about things now, that there will actually be some proper stuff for you with real professionals who actually know what they're talking about, who will be able to help. And I think that that's something that can be used all across the world. That is my hope. So anyway, there you go. That's where I've got to. There is my 18-month update. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being on the journey. Thank you guys for the comments and pushing me to actually do these videos, because I'd kind of forgotten about them. Yeah, so there we go. So please enjoy the rest of your day, and you will see me again soon, but in a different format. So until then, take care and goodbye.